people don't understand how political violence happens. It doesn't happen, boom, like somebody turning on the light. Political violence happens by little itty bitty baby steps. And then by the time that you look up, now people are ready to go to a 4,000 person event and shoot somebody from a roof. It is not a flash in the pan. It is something that builds over time. And if you excuse the worst actors on your side of the political aisle, what you're doing is saying, this is acceptable. This is something that I think is okay for the pure politics of it. I consider myself, and this is why you and I are such great friends, but I consider myself somebody that has very stark black and white principles. And when you do something that is wrong, I don't check to see if there's an R or a D or an I next to your name. I don't care. If you do something that is wrong, if you do something that is wrong, what you've done is something that is wrong. It doesn't matter who you are. And if you can't denounce and condemn the worst actors on your side, then you're being a principled person wrong. And I could get into very specifics if you want me to, but that's kind of how I feel right now. I don't think that the country is headed in a good direction. And I think it is both sides of the political aisle right now that are excusing their worst actors. I think we're headed in a terrible, terrible direction and one of the most dangerous paths you could possibly think of.
Yes, I'll take the specifics, please.
Okay, Tucker Carlson. If you're on the right, and you think that Tucker Carlson belongs in the right-wing camp, then you are doing it wrong. And when I mean you, I mean J.D. Vance. I mean Megyn Kelly. I mean Glenn Beck. I like Megyn Kelly. I like Glenn Beck. Ben Shapiro learned his lesson. His previous 2 episodes, he has gone all in on Tucker Carlson. And he does it in a way that I've been trying to point out to people. Tucker Carlson is kind of like a pseudo Andrew Tate, or maybe Andrew Tate's a pseudo Tucker Carlson. But with Andrew Tate, he says, look, here is the issue. Tucker Carlson is good at pointing out an issue, but all he does is point out the issue and then complain about it. He doesn't offer anything close to a solution. And when he does, they are anti-American solutions. And I've thought this about Tucker Carlson forever. I read his book that came out maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And he was on the Ben Shapiro Sunday Conversation pushing his book. And at one point in their conversation, Tucker Carlson was mentioning the fact that one of the most highly sought after jobs for blue collar people is driving trucks. And Ben Shapiro had mentioned, but the trucking industry is going to have an overhaul soon as in the next 10, 15 years, because of Tesla and because of self-driving cars. That's how it's going to be done soon. And what ended up happening was Ben Shapiro asked Tucker Carlson, are you saying that you're going to stymie and stop the progress of this just to save those jobs? And he said, yes. That's somebody who's professing to be a Luddite. That's somebody that's professing to be anti-American, anti-progress, anti-technology. The American dream is all about coming up with something new and making something better for yourself. It's not to say that it's terrible that all of those jobs are going to go away, but it is to say, hey, you can come up now with something new, something earth-shattering, groundbreaking. And the fact that you don't do it means that you don't understand America. And the fact that people listen to Tucker Carlson on that object, or I should say subject alone, is disqualifying enough when it comes to Tucker Carlson. Now you throw in the rabid Jew hatred and the worst foreign policy analyses I have ever seen. How are you doing since World War III, by the way? Have you recovered since World War III? Yeah, that 12-day
Yeah, we're doing okay.
World War III. But your Tucker Carlson's, he cannot be in the right-wing camp. You want to know why? Because that Jew hatred and that bigotry, that now says that Nick Fuentes is allowed in the right-wing camp. It now says that Dan Bilzerian can be back in the right-wing camp. These are not people who are in any way right-wing conservatives. They're not even populists. They're just bigots. And if you can't say that when it's so obvious, then I don't just distrust the person like Dan Bilzerian, Megyn Kelly, Nick Fuentes, and Tucker Carlson. I now don't trust you, and I want you out of the party. I want you outside of our tent.
Thank you very much for tuning in to that clip. If you enjoyed it, then you'll love the full-length episode right here. Right here. Click it. Go ahead.